5 days ago, I had a question on TikTok. The way you draw hands is epic. I tried last night and one came out decent while the other was not so much. Well, the first thing I will say that will help you the most is using reference photos. So, using reference, that is key. So, I'm not using a reference right now just because I don't want to pull one up. But the biggest thing is to make sure that when you're drawing a hand, I'm looking at my hand right now. I'm not using a reference photo, but I'm using my hand as reference. Um, the the big thing is to look to see what shapes you see, and immediately your palm and where your knuckles meet your fingers is a rectangle. So I just draw a quick rectangle, and it doesn't have to be perfect. This is gonna look really like sketchy because that's the key too. Is don't worry about making mistakes at this point. What you want to do is just get a nice frame for your hand. Then after that, you start looking and you see, I see lines. So um, my hand is out. So I got one line here for my thumb, one line here for my index, ring finger, or no, this is my ring finger, my middle finger, and then my pinky. Uh, Everyone's fingers are a little different. Some people's ring finger are longer than the middle finger. My middle finger is longer. My index is slightly smaller than my ring. So when you draw OCs or when you draw characters, depending on a reference, you're going to want to use that reference. But if you're drawing an OC, you can kind of break the rules a little bit. But you got to know the rules before you break them. Then if you look at your finger, there's points where your finger will have joints. So I like to denotate those. So put one there, put one there, here, here, and here. And then these are where your knuckles are. So I always draw circles there. When I draw the quick portraits and stuff, I just make basic shapes because I've drawn this so many times. So this is more for people who are trying to get the anatomy of the hand down. So then from here is where I start to block in shapes. Now this is a straight on view. Sorry, I'm not wearing my glove to keep my hand from touching the screen, so it's moving around a little bit. Um, so these are just basic shapes. Um, I guess you can call them oblongs or what have you. And then the tip of the thumb. This is the only one that's kind of towards me, whereas this is where these fingers are, the back of the fingers are facing my table. So then from here, depending on how detailed you want to be, um, you can just start drawing the palm, the outside, and then right here is your joint. So I always like to use a circle, or if I'm drawing big shapes, I just kind of block it in. Um, Obviously, my forearm is not that big, but I like to block in shapes because it helps me see. Uh, so then, depending on what brush you're using, you can start blocking in shadows. So there's there, here, and then you know, reference, reference, reference. So every hand is different. But then from here, you can start making corrections. And if you're not happy with it, what you could do is kind of use it as a reference to go to your next one. So then here, with all the guidelines, you can kind of shape stuff in. Obviously, the light's coming from the left side of my hand, so that's why I'm drawing these shadows over here, but you can block in the shadows. So that's just me looking at my hand. Now, I'm going to make a fist, and it's coming at me. So when a fist is coming at you, the first thing you're going to notice is the top of your middle finger's knuckles. And then from here, you kind of go this way and this way. And then this would be your index finger, your ring finger, pinky finger, knuckles. and then go from there. I know it's kind of brief, but I wanted to give you an idea of, my process for drawing hands. But like I said, references are key. Without a reference, you're not going to be able to draw a hand correctly. So practicing the hand drawings is going to be huge. So I want to thank Souls of the Dead for the comment. And if you'd like to see more videos like this in the future, leave them in the comments down below. I would love to kind of break down my process because I do draw a little bit differently. I mean, I still use Loomis techniques, I still do shapes, but when I draw portraits and stuff like that, I like to just be general. So when you look at a face, the first thing you're going to see is kind of the shadows. So if you squint, you kind of see shadows of a face. So that's what I block in. And then from there, I could kind of do the Loomis technique to make sure, that my proportions are right. And I'm constantly checking. And if you notice in a lot of my videos, I'm going back and making adjustments. I'm flipping the canvas. So I do all these things to make sure that what I am seeing, I'm happy with, and I'm also seeing something that's aesthetically pleasing. So I want to thank Souls of the Dead. And again, if you guys enjoy this kind of video, let me know. I do more. Thank you and have a great day.